Hey, hi everybody. Do you
Hello.
do everything in your business? Do you build your own website? Do you handle all your own graphics? Do you build your own workbooks? Did you that program that you put on Kajabi? Did you put all that on Kajabi by yourself? So, if you're someone who's a coach, a woman coach in particular, and you're handling all your own technology and you are running your own business. Now, I'm going to just pause for a moment and I'm going to remind you all of what a CEO does. If you are CEO of your company, very often you're just sitting at your desk doing this. This is how I sit at my desk most of the time. What am I doing right now? Thinking, dreaming, imagining, visualizing, manifesting. If you are at your desk doing this, you're all over the place, then I'm not trying to say that you're doing it wrong, but I am trying to say that something is not right. You are a coach and you are a CEO, whether you want it or not. If you have a business and you started that business, your job is not to do all the jobs, but rather to embody everything that needs to be done and delegate to the appropriate people. The
Mhm.
woman coach who is doing everything herself, it's not really being resourceful. She's disappearing into her own business, disappearing. Okay. You hear everybody talking about visibility, getting seen. It's because we're disappearing, right? I don't know about the coaches and mentors that are on this call with us today, but I know that there was a time in my life when I felt absolutely invisible. And I was, but it wasn't anybody else's fault. I tried blaming Facebook. I blamed the Facebook algorithm. I blamed the YouTube algorithm. I blamed all the influencers that were out there getting all the attention who didn't have as much to offer as I did, right? So, what I want you to understand is that doing everything yourself is a form of hiding, and it's a manipulation that our mind does on us where we think that we have to do everything ourselves. So every hour that you spend wrestling with your website, building your own funnels, designing your own graphics, writing your own email sequences, and troubleshooting your own tech for hours. I know you spend hours doing it because you come to your sessions or you come to our group sessions and you say, I was on the line for hours with tech. They had me on hold. It was crazy and it was Mercury retrograde and everything was going wrong. Okay. If that is you and you're not doing the one thing that actually grows your business, which is being fully, visibly, magnetically yourself out in the world. So the do it yourself attitude puts a shackle around your mind and your business. It's going to also put a shackle around your money. It's putting a shackle around your time. Okay. And sure enough, you know it ain't fun to be on with tech all day. You know that's not fun. It's put a shackle around your pleasure. It's not fun anymore. Okay. So welcome. Welcome to the Spiritual Business Hour. I'm Lynn Bell. I come to you Monday through Friday at 2 o'clock Pacific time, and I talk to you about your business. And I'm here to help you unlock your business so that you can be liberated and free and do the thing that you love doing, which is sitting at your desk doing this. Ah, isn't it beautiful outside? I'm just going to sit here and imagine how I want my life to be. And then when the time comes, I'm gonna go in there and do that coaching session, or I'm gonna teach this group of people that have come to me. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna be sitting here glued to my computer. I have guests today. I have three beautiful guests. Known as the womb whisperer, Magdalena Grace helps women heal ancestral money wounds and awaken the feminine power that fuels abundance. Hi,
Mhm.
Magdalena, welcome.
Hello.
Irina Portnova has a gift for turning introductions into opportunities. Wherever she goes, conversations become collaborations, collaborations become visibility, and visibility becomes business growth. Welcome, Irina.
Mhm.
And Liz Rankin is a retired U.S. Army Sergeant First Class. She's an MBA holder and she's a single mother of four daughters. And
Mhm.
she wrote a book. It's called Girl, Just Make the Damn Decision. I want to welcome you, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much.
So, ladies, let's get into a question here. At what point, let me ask you something because I want to be very gentle but also honest. We're all at different stages in our business, right? I've been doing this for 15 years, and you may not have been. And definitely people who are watching us are most likely they've not been in this as long as I have. But you got to start somewhere in this business, don't you? You got to start somewhere. My question is, tell us your story of how you started with doing things yourself. What role did doing things yourself play in your life? Who wants to start?
Yeah, I'll go. Sure.
Please, Liz.
Well, for me, when I started coaching moms who have mixed kids, biracial children with curly hair. And I wrote a book called Curls Entangled. I also have a membership group. It was really to help the parents that are very similar to myself navigate how to care for children with curly hair. I have four daughters. And there's detangling, the moisturizing, and not growing up knowing what to do. So through all my trial and error and experience, that is what I made my business around. Going into it, I did everything myself. I did absolutely everything myself. The research, the putting the ebook together, putting the full book together, design stuff that I should not have been tackling at the time. Getting photos. I should have just hired a photographer. I should have hired some models. I should have had the whole thing with other people, collaboration, partnerships, things that we could come together like we are doing on the summit. Like that is game changer to bring in people that are expertise in their area. And this is the goal now, right? We've learned from our mistakes. It was a very stressful point in my business, but again, we learn, we move on. But that was my first experience realizing like we need to outsource certain things for the experts to take care of.
Absolutely. And I started off doing everything myself. And this is why I'm saying you're hiding. Not you in particular, but there comes a point where you do start doing things yourself, but then you got to stop. You got to delegate, you got to trust, you got to invite people in. Does anybody else want to share their story?
Yes,
Go for
can
it,
I?
Magdalena. Mhm.
Yeah, mine. I'm gonna like reverse engineer it a little bit. I was very, very fortunate, so I want to say this up right up front. I got out of college, and my first sales career was in real estate. And the way I got in was I became an assistant to a realtor, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I think you have the gift of sales and talking to people and building trust and rapport. Why don't you join my team?" And so I did, and because I started as his assistant, and he told me, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And that really stuck with me. He also had a coach. So I became a realtor and I hired an assistant. One of my girlfriends was a teacher. She needed money for the summer. So I had her doing all the non-income producing activities, the collating, the flyers, and all of that kind of stuff. So keep in mind, I started my coaching career with that in mind. And so when I started my coaching business right away, I was like, okay, what isn't an IPA, income producing activity, and who can I elevate and give them an opportunity to make money, so then I delegate to them so then I can elevate. Now here's the caveat. There were times and seasons where I went through divorce and I lost everything and I had to start all over. And so thankfully I was scrappy enough where sometimes I would even barter with people who had the skills that I needed, or go to Fiverr, because I was like, there's no effing way. I don't know if we can swear on here, but there's no effing way I was going to do all of the things, because I knew that that would be the end, the beginning of the end, and burnout. And I was already going through a lot in my life, so it was a blessing to hire these people or to even trade with these people. You're stimulating the economy that way, so you're not just doing all the things and being all the things.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I love this. I love that you talked about getting a coach as well, because getting a coach is part of it. But I also love how you're talking about fueling the economy. I've had one of my team members for the last 5 years. Even when there was a period where my business was struggling, I still made sure I had that team member. I was calculating my hours. I have about 40 hours of team members that are doing work for me because I've got clients, and so I learned early on that I need to hire a team. And so my team members, I got my A team, I've got my B team. That's not levels, but that's what they do, what they do. And everything is really organized because that's where I am and that's what I learned how to do early on, but it took time for me to get there. I first had to do everything myself, and then I had to stop and start delegating. Yeah. Irina,
Can
would
I
you like
share?
to share? Please.
Yes. Oh my God, I just resonate so much with what Magdalena was sharing. First
Mm,
of all, what really stuck in the words that she was saying is resourceful. We
yeah.
always forget that we are resourceful. And a lot of times we act from the lack. And I never forget when I started to learn how to run the summits. My first summit, even, the coach that was teaching me not using, they had the tech support, but they were not using the program I was using. And I was like, I'm not freaking changing anything. So basically, I had to learn everything on my own, which I'm
Mhm.
very proud of. But there were like gazillion of hours input in that. But that was my first summit. After that, I hired my tech guy. He does everything for me right now on a monthly basis. Yeah, I keep him on my payroll, like you were mentioning, Crystalline. And I also have my social media person. But I wanted to share something that a lot of times we are looking from the point of lack. So, my invitation, if you can't afford somebody for 40 hours, start with something. Do three
Mhm.
hours, do 5 hours,
Exactly.
because that energy that you are putting in, it's going to expand, right? Because if we
Mhm.
are always telling ourselves we can't do this, we are never going to be able, because we are still staying in that identity, still in that mindset that we
Mhm.
can do that, right? So now
Yeah.
we are just like, okay, what can I do from where I am with what I have? And we start building from that. And I just wanted to quickly share that story. When my coach was coaching us, and one of the person was saying, I have to do the whole tech myself because I do not have the clients to hire for the summit. And she said, how about thinking the other way? I hire the tech, and that puts him in another mindset, right? Because again,
Mhm.
pressure makes diamonds. When
Yes.
we feel relaxed, and it's easy for us to get away by saying, okay, I cannot hire the help, that means we are not actually putting ourselves out the way that we can, in
Mm.
order to really have the conversations, in order to really uh, doing these invitations for people. Because once we start having that, necessity, and saying, okay, I do want to have somebody in my team. And I love, Crystalline, as you were sharing, when we are always, running, and always, like one task after another, we are not giving ourselves permission to actually use our gifts in order to come up with something creative. Because The creativity is gone because we have the whole freaking list of things what we have to do first and second and third, right?
Yeah.
So now that's
Yeah.
exactly what we are doing when we have the space just even to relax, to zoom out, just like showing up for our sessions. And again, not to say that I'm still not doing some things that I would delegate point, but just to say, start with something. And once you start with it, you'll see how your mind is going to expand and start thinking differently. So you can actually have that help and you can feel good in your business.
Yeah, that is really I that was really beautiful, Irina. And I think that there might be a little bit of a lag with your
Lag.
feed.
Mm,
Yeah, because it's breaking
mm-hmm,
up a little bit. So, and I know
mm-hmm.
you have such beautiful treasures that come from your mouth that we really want to be sure that
Aw,
we can hear you. Um,
thank you.
but your insights are spot on. As a new coach, you come into this and there's a lot of joy in learning something new,
Mm-hmm,
right? And that is so good. And for the first couple of years in your business, you may not be ready to hire somebody. You don't know what to hire them for, right?
mm-hmm,
But the problem starts to come when you've been at it for a couple of years and you are still taking on more and you're doing, and doing, and doing. And for me, I think that it's really important for a woman coach to have a business plan. Now, I know a lot of people get really intimidated by the thought of doing a business plan. But honestly speaking, I think that in today's world, a business plan is simply what you feel like doing. You write it down. That's it. What you feel like doing, what you feel like creating. Don't worry about the financial projections. Don't worry about the end of year turnover. Just what do you want to actually do? Write it down. And then what you're going to do is realize, especially if you reverse engineer things, you'll see that there's an opportunity for you to actually, well, do that thing. And when you know what it is you want done, it's so much easier to hire a virtual assistant or to find someone on Fiverr, to hire someone to do your graphic design. They don't have to be fancy, they don't have to be expensive. But if you don't know what you want to do, that's when it's very difficult to hire somebody. I see Irina's little hands.
Yes, absolutely. So true. So true.
It is true though, right? So making a business plan, I think, is really fun because it's like your dream board with plans, right? We should probably get together and teach that as a class. So, ladies, let me ask you all another one of my questions, okay? Um, this is another personal question. What is the most expensive thing that you've ever spent your time doing that you could imagine you could have handed that off to something else, off to someone else? Is there something that you've built that you could have handed off to someone? I remember when I first hired my girl Rebecca. She is so top notch. I was building out my all my lead magnets, doing all my graphic design stuff, like doing the build, not the interior. I did the interior. You have to do the interior. You have to do the internal content, the philosophy. You have to do that. But you don't have to do the build on it. Like somebody talked about building their Liz talked about doing her book herself.
Mhm.
Tell us about the time that it took and why you felt, when did it start to realize that that's expensive for you to be doing?
Yeah, I think for me, like, well, rewind back before I had that coaching program. I actually used to design magazines. I had a magazine for Baltimore women. It was called Be Woman Magazine. And I enjoyed getting into the design aspect of it, but man, was it time consuming. Whereas I got towards the end, I wasn't really feeling the design. I questioned the design all the time. This is not just time physically at my computer designing a book. This is time of me saying, should I adjust this margin? Should I put different colors on this page? Should I have the photo? Like the process, the thinking, the decision fatigue that comes up. I like to speak a lot about the decisions and how that that takes our energy, that takes our time. And if I could have been coaching people, and the value of my coaching service, if I could have been offering that to somebody else and have somebody else actually do the design work, like, oh my gosh, I can't even put a number on it. It's super valuable time that I had wasted designing myself.
Absolutely. I remember when when one of my mentors said, "So, Crystalline, right now you're charging $350 an hour for your services." And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "So you just spent 3 hours on your putting together your workbook." And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "So that just cost you like, $1,000." And I'm like, "Oh." And she's like, "You could have had a VA do that for you and it would cost, $30 or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, I see. That helped. That
Wow.
helped."
That's a good perspective.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to share on that? Go ahead,
I
Magdalena.
think yes.
Sorry, I saw Magdalena, so I'm in motion, momentum.
It's all good. Mine's going to seem really probably baseline, but I want to preface it with I did a summit very much like yours, and I hired a done for you company. Otherwise, I got it. I got us even knows how much that would have just like tore me down and make me probably get really sick, and that would cost me money because it was so much work. So cheers to you for doing this. I also launched a podcast 6 years ago. This today actually, and I had a whole team, a coach, and I had all of the audio visual, everybody did all of the things, and I didn't have to edit. I didn't have to do any of those things. It would have been more expensive for me to, F it up and to do it. It would have cost me time. And again, probably would have caused me health issues because of the stress level. So now what I do know from habits is just even doing all of my email campaigns, even just taking the time, because there's an energy cost and a time cost, putting the email copy together. That's my passion. I don't really like to use GPT that much still because I'm a writer at heart, but being able to load the emails and getting that all, I hire people to do that, even if it's $70 an hour, because they're the best at working with my CRM and all of the right tools. It's a finely tuned engine, which again saves me time and money and allows me to be out there, doing the things that are the income producing activities. So those were the first things that came to mind.
Beautiful. Very good. Excellent. Irina, please.
Yeah, I wanted to share the similar story you were saying, Crystalline.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm sorry. It's we have the thunderstorms and I have a little bit weak connection. So for me, same thing. It's like creating the resources, especially like finding the Canva. It's so beautiful visual, but it comes to tax, just like a lot of hours spent on like really redesigning and doing it. Obviously now I already outgrew that stage, but it's actually, you are right, it's just producing the resources, doing a lot of visuals, doing all these graphic things that actually take up a lot of my time.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Irina, for sharing that. Let me ask you, ladies, have you ever worked with somebody who took something off your plate and the relief actually surprised you? Like you were like, there was a shift in your whole being because of that. Can you share with us what that was?
Yeah, like for me, I mentioned the summits, right? The first time I ran everything myself, and then I gave it to my tech guy, and now we are working with him on a monthly basis. I always put new landing pages, registration pages, new products. So all the sequences, he takes care of everything, and it is a huge, huge help. And I have my social media person. that to the point that I do not even approve anything what she does. I kind of constant just, trust the process. I'm focusing on what I'm doing, and I just allow that person to do what she does.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful one. And that summit's a big deal. I know that Magdalena
Oh my
has done a
God.
summit in Arena. You're my inspiration around my summit. I did one last year, but it is a lot of work. And even though I did take it on myself, but I do have my team. My team be knocking stuff out like boom, boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
but that's we are a unit who we're used to working together and creating at this level. So yeah, I'm very glad that I'm able to do this for myself and for other people as well. Does anyone else want to share about like something that saved them? Go ahead, Magdalena.
Yeah, admittedly, during my spiritual awakening, I actually didn't work, full disclosure, for really like almost 2 years, but my business kept running because my social media team, my YouTube people, I kept them hired and going so that I could, if it made sense. And then I had an appointment setting system too, so that if I had someone who wanted my services, then I could support them. But at least it's like the lights were left on like Motel 6. That way people, they didn't even really fully know what was going on behind the scenes until I came out and started talking about it.
Excellent, Magdalena. That's a great story. Liz, did you want to add something into that?
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm approaching this topic in general with a lot of curiosity, and I'm getting so much good information from all the coaches here. I've used VAs in the past, but I'm growing through just this episode alone. I'm going to hire all these people when I get off of this call. So I've had like VAs to help with task and keep things going, but I realize there's something, and I've used Fiverr a lot. Fiverr for design, and I've got like a coloring book series and different things that support my previous products. But as far as the business coaching aspect, because this is a relatively newer chapter, I'm seeing there's a lot of value in the social media people, the managing the email, the services that I can take in so that I can provide services for my clients.
Liz, it's so interesting because when I had a vision that I was going to be a multi-million-dollar coach, and I didn't know how that was going to be. I first started off and I thought, that's going to be interesting because I'm going to be doing, working with people privately, working as a healer. But then I realized that my ideal client is a woman who wants a business. If she doesn't want something specific and tangible at the end, I didn't really want to work with her. That was not the client for me. And so that shift in myself happened probably 10 years ago. And then once I realized that, I then had to start branding myself as a business owner. And then all of a sudden, it made sense why I was doing everything myself and I wanted to do things myself. Because for me, I wanted to actually deeply understand the workings of a website. I wanted to know that. I wanted to understand automations. I wanted to understand branding, because I wanted to be able to pass the information on to other women. Again, you've probably heard me say I'm an 8, numerologically. I love business. Okay. Had my first business when I was 8 years old and have worked in business ever since. So for me, it's different. I'm good at supporting women in this way because it's my life path. But as a coach, a healer, a different person, not everybody is supposed to be doing this. Not everybody is meant to be doing this. I would love to get your philosophy, ladies, as the CEO of your company. Where is your focus best placed? Where does your focus best place? Me thinking, sitting down, being in meditation. For me, that's my best focus.
Yeah.
What about for you all? Magdalena.
I'll give you the esoteric woohoo, as I said the other day, answer, because this is just where I'm at after my spiritual awakening and knowing my life purpose and mission at a much deeper level. I have a 2-hour morning sadhana. I connect with my ancestors, Mary Magdalene, divine feminine, divine masculine archetypes. I pull runes, I pull tarot, and I just ask questions. I also am interpreting my dreams from the night before, and I'm journaling like crazy to just ask, what is my assignment today? What is my dharma? Am I on the right path? Am I on the right track? Because that's what keeps me in alignment. And for me, alignment equals abundance, joy, bliss, and pleasure. When I stay in that space, in that humble, receptive, and open space first thing every morning, it sets the tone for my day. And that is the most important thing. I'm going to just say that for everybody, is how you start your day is going to absolutely impact the rest of it.
Well, and notice how she did not say funnel, Facebook, email, telephone. Notice how none of that was in there. And I find that to be so incredibly important. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. It's gotten to 3:30 now. I'm in California. So 3:30 is what it is. And 2 hours is dedicated to absolutely just being with myself, feeling my energy. I might make myself a cup of hot chocolate in there, but for the most part, it's going to be, meditating, journaling, all that kind of thing. What about for you, Liz and Irina? Where do you find that your most important kind of focus is for your business?
For me, it's fun.
Mm? Yes.
Yep. Fun and
Yes.
joy and more ways to laugh, right? I even actually redesigning some of my courses because I want to take people on adventure. I don't
Mm,
want it to be boring corporate sounding. Like I
mm,
want them to feel, even when we are working with business, right? When I'm helping them to track their cash and client flow, I want to actually take them through experience, through adventure. And that's what gets me going, because I'm just like always thinking what kind of images, what kind of words to use, and it just comes out so great. And I'm so grateful for our AI tools, because they
mm,
actually playing out nicely with me, and we are creating magic together. So this is like where I'm using my creativity the best, and just downloads.
mm,
I love to be in the conversation and something drops as the wisdom, and I always like share with my clients, so they actually receive the real time downloads from me. What is the next best step for them to take? Obviously, if they already know what they want, they are going with their go-to. But if they want to hear my wisdom, I'm always there.
I love it, Irina. That's beautiful.
Thank
Now,
you.
ladies, let me ask you something. All right. If a coach did not have to have, if she did not have to worry about her funnels, did not have to do any of the tech, did not have to edit her own videos, did not have to post her own blogs, did not have to get on social media and do all the social media stuff, what would she be doing with her time? What would her day look like?
Creativity, creating
Mhm.
Mhm.
Tell us
abundance,
more.
abundance, not just for yourself, but for everybody else.
Mm,
I I find my creativity comes out best through movement. So for me, I would be out taking a walk. I would be at the gym. I don't know what it is. A Beyonce song comes on, I hear her confidence on stage, but I somehow translate that to my confidence showing up as a woman coach. I
yeah.
don't know what it is. All the lyrics that I hear, the movement in my body, the flow, it just brings
Mm,
something else out of me. A lot of times when I'm working out, I get the best ideas. My creativity just flows when I'm moving.
mm,
I've also implemented on my walks, I don't touch my phone. At first, I was like, okay, going for a walk. This is a great time where I'm just by myself and I can get so much done on my phone. And then I was like, no, I'm looking at this completely wrong. Go out, walk. Do not look at your phone one time. And man, the best decision I've ever made. It just
mm.
Mhm.
creativity, the ideas, being in nature, just it's natural and it flows.
That is such a gorgeous response. Thank you for that, Liz. Yeah. Anybody else want to suggest something? Go ahead, Magdalena.
Yeah, I think for me, it'd be of being of service. Like I say the old school sales thing, right? Shaking hands, kissing babies, building relationships, being out in community, going to, hang out with nonprofits and speaking and even doing things that I might get paid for, but I'm doing it because I can. I have the time freedom. All of the heavy lifting and the little piddly stuff is off of my plate. That isn't my zone of genius anyway, so I shouldn't say. I don't want to sound like demeaning, but someone else is better served doing all those things and having an appointment setter, scheduling appointments. So literally all I have to do is show up and be present for these
Mm.
people. And then of course, spending a hell of a lot of time with my kids and singing and doing all sorts of fun, juicy, delicious stuff out in nature for sure.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Yes, yes. Irina, you want to share something?
Yeah, this is so good. So for me, I would go to the spa
Mm.
to have myself pampered because, like Magdalena talks about pleasure, I love to be in pleasure because the more I am in pleasure, the more I'm in creativity and the more my energy is fluid and the more it touches people. Yep,
Yeah, gorgeous.
let's go.
Absolutely. Exactly. And
Mhm.
this is the thing. One of the reasons when I created the Liberated Coach Summit, I was looking at these, I was sitting down philosophizing. This is how everything comes out, right? You sit down and you think, oh, I'm just going to sit here and stare at these trees. Oh, I think I'm going to have a summit. Oh, I think it'll be about liberating coaches. Why? Well, because I think that women are shackled around their mind, their time, their business, their money, and their pleasure. Their pleasure is shackled. They don't get to be coaches anymore. That was my number one shackle, was this understanding that having a coaching business isn't fun if you don't get to coach. If you're most of your time is spent building tech and doing stuff, administrative stuff, it just isn't fun to be a coach anymore. So that was pretty important to me. Now, ladies, we are, if you're watching, thank you for joining us. We are speakers at the Liberated Coach Summit. And there's us, and then there are 16 other speakers that are there talking to you about setting yourself free so that you can step into your best coaching business. So, what I'd like to do is give our speakers an opportunity to share what they're going to be talking about at the summit, or what they are talking about. This is an on-demand summit, which means that when you sign up, you get access to all the interviews right now. So 20 interviews are there for you to enjoy right now. Each speaker has a gift for you. It can be, well, we've got 4 people here who are going to share. They're going to share their gifts with you. Who wants to go first to tell us about how you help people and what your gift is at the summit? Who would like to go first? Go ahead, Magdalena.
I'm going first because I have a feeling my daughter is landing like right now. So I'm focusing as a womb whisperer. Of course, I'm going to be talking about the womb, and you're like, what does that have to do with business? Everything. So my talk is entitled Healing Ancestral Money Wounds Through the Womb and Yoni, Reclaiming Pleasure, Power, and Prosperity, because we're born with these wounds from our ancestors. And I do believe right now on the planet, we're being asked to heal these things. And we have these inherited money blocks, and a lot of them are in those lower 3 chakras, which houses our womb. And so the whole goal is to help you heal your womb, heal your ancestral lineage, and then activate the pleasure, the power, and the prosperity. So you're magnetizing money, love, and pleasure all at once, which is what women all deserve right now.
That is awesome. What a great gift. You want that gift. I want that gift. Excellent, Magdalena. Beautiful. Who'd like to share next?
Sure, I'll go
Go
next.
right ahead, Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz, and I am a decision strategist and business coach. I really believe that women are here. We're at this new age where women are taking their gifts and turning them into businesses. So I help women create different streams of income, whether it's through a digital product, a membership, or a coaching offer. And what my gift is for those who are registering for the summit is a workbook to my book, Girl, Just Make the Damn Decision.
Mm.
It is very difficult for women to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs and the way that we've been conditioned, the way that we have been brought up. Everybody makes 35,000 decisions a day. If you are a mom, you make even more than that. If you are an entrepreneur, you make almost 70,000 decisions every single day.
Wow.
So this workbook is going to help you take action. There are going to be tough questions that you need to face and answer them, because once you start working through the workbook, you'll see where the momentum grows, where the action needs to be taken for you to live your best, most joyous life through business, through health, through relationships, all of the things.
Wow, fantastic. I'm excited about that gift too. You know, as you're sitting there, I was thinking about like 70,000 decisions a day. And then I started thinking about driving the car, like just getting in the car to drive. I come to my office every day and I'm like, oh, so many decisions. God. That's amazing. So what a great gift, Liz. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Irina, how about you?
Yeah, beautiful. I love everything what everybody has to offer. It's so beautiful that we are all in this space. For me, I'm kind of a marry manifestation with the business strategist. So I'm a client attraction and visibility expert. And my gift is, how do you discover your missing link to client flow? Because let's face it, we all want to connect with more people, more clients. And I'm offering this 64-second quiz, which is going to reveal your client flow archetype, missing link that is ready to be shifted, right? So what is exactly happening in your business that clients are not flowing as consistently as we want to? That's a great quiz that I'm offering everybody who is attending.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. My name is Lynn Bell, and I'm the host and founder of the Liberated Coach Summit. And I help spiritual women build magical businesses that reflect their light, their soul, and that have infrastructure that gives them lavish, sustainable income. That's what I do. And for me, many of the coaches I work with have been in business for a few years and they're just struggling. They're struggling to make it. And I've talked about the shackles, you know, the shackle around your mind, your time, your business, your money, and your pleasure. Well, those shackles really make us struggle. And what I'm offering for the summit is an assessment. It's an assessment of where you are with these shackles, or where these shackles are in your life, how they're showing up on your time, on your mind, your business, your money, and your pleasure. So you take the quiz. It takes just about a minute to get through. And then you are going to receive a guidebook. The guidebook is there to help you work through each of those shackles so that you see a clear path for how to set yourself free. So important for what we're doing. Now, what I'd like to do is just bring this back and let us wrap everything up. I'm going to give us all one last question for the day. And I should say, by the way, there's a link to join the Liberated Coach Summit in the comments, all right? In the caption and in the comments for sure. So this one last question, I think this is something that everyone can really relate to very well. How does doing everything yourself affect a woman's magnetism, her visibility, and in what ways does it make just in what ways does it hold back, like, her ability to really have what she wants, which is clients and payment for those clients?
Can I?
Yeah. Go right ahead, Irina.
Such a great question. I feel when we are super busy with all the tasks that we have, we are not actually staying in our receiving mode, which is what the feminine is all about. And when we are talking about receiving, we are talking about receiving clients, receiving money, receiving help, right? The word is help.
Mm,
And that's
mm,
exactly what we are talking about, done for you, right? So
mm.
again, we want to understand that there is a link between what happened, why we are not having enough clients or when we are not having enough money. There is a direct link with the receiving side. So when we let go of some of the tasks, when we start delegating, and like I said, if we can't afford to do it a lot right away, start with a couple of hours, but just building that habit, right? And the more you start doing it, the more you start receiving, like even maybe an hour for you to nap, just to like really release all that pressure that you're keeping for yourself when your mind is constantly working and you're not allowing it to relax, because we know that when we are relaxed, that's where the creativity just flows. That's when we receive the downloads. That's when we are really showing up the most in our feminine side. And that's exactly what my invitation is, to do start delegate some things so you can stay more in the receiving side.
That was so good. So, so good. And, you know, and Irina, again, your thing is breaking up a little bit, but we still, the message was just sublime, honey. The message was sublime. Thank you.
Thank
Who
you.
else wants to add to that? Go right ahead, Magdalena.
Yeah, and I picked up enough of what Arita said. I'm just going to kind of say ditto. And part of what I've discovered through the healing of the chakra system in the womb and those lower three chakras are a lot of our trauma responses stagnated, not only from our ancestors, but our childhood. So a lot of that fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So when we're operating in what she was talking about, the feminine receiving, that's down there by the yoni and the womb area. And if we don't feel safe in our body, if we're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, we got to be in control and do all of the things ourselves. Again, that's more of the wounded masculine energy, which is a lot of scarcity, a lot of
Mm,
fear. And then you might even make a lot of money. I fell into this trap. You might even make a lot of money, but then you end up falling into the trap of also spending more than you make. You're not saving, investing, and spending. And so you got to have that
mm,
balance of the feminine and the masculine. So when you're operating from I got to do it all myself, just know that that's not your true essence. That's not your authentic self-love version of you. So you're giving probably from an empty cup, and that can hurt your reputation. That'll eventually you'll burn out and not be able to be any version of yourself because you'll be probably on the bench.
right. Well said. So beautiful, so clear. And I love that kind of connection to, I love that connection to the yoni, you know, and
Mhm.
that energy is so important and it's so true. And we don't get to be women. Like, I'm not really all that happy with the women's liberation. I'm very happy to be liberated, but I'm also kind of like I like the divine masculine to support me. I'd like to be able to have a safe container so that I can dance and be free and work at a higher level rather than, you know, having to be in the, you know, making everything happen. You got to make it happen. Really? Do I though? No. Yeah.
Yeah, when you ask for help and you have someone helping you, even if it's not a man, then you're receiving and you're getting that
Mhm.
structured support and container. So absolutely, that's where the
Mhm.
the orgasms and the money can come from, right?
That's
Yay to that.
that's right. Liz, you want to share something about that?
Oh my gosh. Well, everybody's response is so great. I was afraid to follow Arena, and now Magdalena, you said it perfectly as well. So I'll just add on top of that. I agree with what everybody is saying here. And as a woman, as a people pleaser, as someone who struggled putting up boundaries and definitely asking for help, like I don't know if it's when we were born, how we were raised. Well, I do. It's how we were conditioned, all these things where it's like, I don't want to ask for help, even with kids, I don't want to ask for help. Even in the kitchen, I don't want to ask for help. It's like we have this subconscious belief that we're supposed to live up to these high standards. Like when women were given the rights to work, nobody came over to us and offered, hey, let me take all of these other things off your plate. It's almost like the world just said, okay, you want work, here it is, and you'll figure the rest out yourself. But that's why us women coming together, supporting each other is so important to building our businesses, to being successful. And just one other thing to add on top of this is, like, in the military, when I served, like, there was delegation. It's clear to me that this is a framework that works. You need to delegate. The person who is in charge needs to show up to these important meetings and collaborate and build relationships, whereas the team is the one that's getting all of this work done. So, rewind back to my 17, 18-year-old self joining the military. I was taught first thing, like, you delegate. And when you're the head person, you are the creative. You make things happen by pushing it down the line.
Wow. Well, that was a mic drop moment. Like, seriously?
So beautiful.
I love this. I love this format. I love this group of women. You all are so smart and so sensual and connected to the feminine and rocking the masculine. And so really just great teachers sitting here. So that's gonna be it for us for the Spiritual Business Hour. Again, I want to remind you to please join us for the Liberated Coach Summit. We are here and we are ready to be of service. Okay, you want more of these women. I know you do, because they are so magnetic and wonderful and smart, and they hold the answers in their hands, and you can go and spend time with them and enjoy what they have to offer, what we have to offer. All right, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
You're welcome. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye for now.